The restaurant's soft lighting couldn't hide the disgust on Marcus Chen's face as he looked across the table at Emma Rodriguez. She'd barely sat down when his eyes traveled from her round face to her fuller figure, and something cold settled in his expression, something that made Emma's stomach drop before he'd even spoken a word. "I think there's been some kind of mistake," Marcus said, his voice loud enough that the couple at the next table glanced over. "The profile picture you sent, you looked different, a lot different." Emma's hands trembled as she smoothed down her burgundy dress, the one she'd spent 2 hours picking out, the one that made her feel beautiful when she'd checked the mirror one last time before leaving her apartment. I didn't edit my photos," she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. "That's really me." Marcus leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "Look, I'm just going to be honest here. I have standards. I take care of myself. I hit the gym 5 days a week. I watch what I eat. I need someone who does the same. Someone who, respects themselves enough to—" "To what?" Emma interrupted, finding a spark of defiance even as tears pricked her eyes. "To fit your idea of acceptable? To not let themselves go like this," Marcus finished, gesturing vaguely at her. He grabbed his coat from the back of his chair. "I'm not wasting my evening. Good luck finding someone with lower standards." The words hit Emma like physical blows. She sat frozen as Marcus stood, tossed a $10 bill on the table with theatrical disgust, and walked out of Giovanni's Italian restaurant without looking back. The quiet conversations around her seemed to pause, and Emma could feel eyes on her, pitying, curious, perhaps even judging. Her vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. Not here, not in front of all these strangers. She'd driven 40 minutes for this date, had spent money she couldn't really afford on this dress, had allowed herself to hope that maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. Her best friend Sophia had set them up, swearing Marcus was a really nice guy underneath it all. Underneath what exactly? Emma wondered bitterly. She was reaching for her purse, ready to flee before the dam broke and the tears came in earnest. When a shadow fell across her table, Emma looked up, expecting their waiter, but instead found herself looking at a man she'd noticed earlier sitting at the adjacent table with a young girl who couldn't have been more than 7 years old. He was tall, with kind eyes and the sort of gentle smile that reached all the way to the crinkles at the corners of his eyes. His daughter peeked around his legs, clutching a well-loved stuffed rabbit. "I'm sorry to intrude," the man said, his voice warm and genuinely apologetic. "My name is Daniel Park, and this is my daughter, Lily. We couldn't help but overhear what just happened. And He paused, seeming to choose his words carefully. "I wanted to make sure you're okay. That guy was way out of line." Emma opened her mouth, not sure what to say, but Lily spoke first. "You have a really pretty dress," the little girl said earnestly, her dark eyes wide and sincere. "It's my favorite color, like the roses Daddy plants in our garden." Something cracked in Emma's chest. She blinked rapidly, managing a wobbly smile. "Thank you, sweetheart. That's very kind of you to say." Daniel gestured to the empty chair Marcus had vacated. "Would you mind if we join you? I know this is unconventional, but Lily and I were just saying how it's not nearly as fun to celebrate her birthday with just the two of us at our own table. We could use some company, and it looks like maybe you could too." Emma glanced between father and daughter, seeing nothing but genuine warmth in their faces. In Daniel's eyes, she saw something Marcus's had lacked entirely. She saw her humanity reflected back at her, not a body to be judged, not an object to be evaluated against some checklist, but a person worthy of kindness and dignity. "It's your birthday?" Emma asked Lily, her voice still shaky but stronger now. Lily nodded enthusiastically. "I'm 7 today. Daddy said I could order whatever I want, even dessert first. But I haven't decided yet." She climbed into the chair next to Emma without waiting for further invitation, setting her stuffed rabbit on the table. "This is Mr. Hopscotch. He's been with me since I was a baby." "Mr. Hopscotch is very distinguished," Emma said, feeling the knot in her chest begin to loosen. She looked at Daniel, who was watching his daughter with such obvious love that it made Emma's heart ache. "Are you sure about this? I don't want to intrude on your celebration." "You wouldn't be intruding," Daniel said firmly, settling into the chair across from her. "You'd be rescuing us from another night of me asking Lily about school and her answering in single syllables while she plots what elaborate Lego creation she's going to demand next." He winked at his daughter, who giggled. As they ordered food, Daniel insisting that everything was on him, refusing to hear Emma's protests. She learned that Daniel was a pediatric nurse who'd been raising Lily alone since his wife passed away 3 years earlier. He spoke about his late wife, Michelle, with such tender reverence that Emma found herself tearing up for entirely different reasons now. Michelle always said that the measure of a person isn't in how they look or what they achieve, but in how they make others feel, Daniel said, twirling pasta on his fork. "She'd be furious about what that guy said to you. Probably would have thrown a drink at him." Lily giggled. "Mama was fierce. That's what Daddy always says. Fierce and beautiful. Just like you, Pumpkin," Daniel said, reaching over to boop his daughter's nose. Emma watched them, this little team of two who'd faced unimaginable loss and come through it with kindness still intact. "I'm sorry about your wife," she said softly. "She sounds like she was amazing." "She was," Daniel agreed. "And she taught me that the people who judge others based on appearance are usually the ones most insecure about their own worth. That guy back there, he's the one with the problem, not you." Over tiramisu and birthday cake, Emma found herself relaxing in a way she hadn't in months, maybe years. She told them about her work as an elementary school art teacher, about the mural project her 5th graders were creating, about her rescue cat named Picasso who had 3 legs and an attitude problem. Lily was delighted. "A 3-legged cat. Does he hop like Mr. Hopscotch?" "More like a swagger," Emma said, demonstrating with her hand, making Lily dissolve into giggles. As the evening wore on, Emma realized something profound. She'd been bracing herself for rejection for so long that she'd forgotten what acceptance felt like. Every date lately had felt like an audition she was doomed to fail. She'd internalized the message that her body was something to apologize for, that she needed to earn affection by somehow taking up less space in the world. But Daniel and Lily didn't see her that way. They saw her art-teaching stories as fascinating, her cat anecdotes as hilarious, her opinions on the best ice cream flavors as worthy of serious debate. They saw her. "Can I tell you something?" Daniel said as they walked toward the parking lot, Lily skipping ahead with Mr. Hopscotch. "When I first started dating again after Michelle died, I was terrified. Everyone kept trying to set me up, saying I needed to get back out there. But most of those dates felt so hollow. People performing instead of connecting, you know?" Emma nodded. She knew exactly what he meant. "But talking with you tonight, that felt real. That felt like actually getting to know another human being. And he paused, looking almost shy. "I was wondering if maybe I could get your number. Not because I'm trying to be some white knight who swoops in after you had a bad date, but because I genuinely enjoyed your company, and I'd like to see you again. If you're interested." Emma's heart hammered in her chest. Part of her, the part that Marcus had wounded, wanted to protect herself, to assume this was pity or some elaborate joke. But a bigger part, the part that had spent the last 2 hours laughing and connecting and feeling valued, wanted to be brave. "I'd like that," she said, pulling out her phone with trembling fingers. Lily ran back to them, grabbing her father's hand. "Is Emma going to come to our house sometime? She could meet our actual cat and see Daddy's garden, and I could show her my Lego hospital." "Maybe," Daniel said, squeezing his daughter's hand while smiling at Emma. "If Emma wants to put up with both of us again, I think I could handle it," Emma said, returning his smile. Later that night, lying in bed with Picasso purring on her chest, Emma replayed the evening in her mind. She thought about Marcus and his cruelty. Yes, that wound would take time to heal. But she thought more about Daniel's kindness, about Lily's innocent acceptance, about how a night that had started with humiliation had ended with hope. Her phone buzzed with a text from a number she'd just added to her contacts. "Thank you for making Lily's birthday so special. She hasn't stopped talking about the pretty art teacher with the cool cat." "Neither have I, honestly. Would you like to get coffee this Saturday? Just us grown-ups this time. Though I can't promise I won't talk about Lily the entire time." Emma grinned at her phone, her thumbs flying over the keyboard. "Coffee sounds perfect. Fair warning, though. I'm definitely going to need to see pictures of this garden and the Lego hospital for research purposes." The response came quickly. "Deal. And Emma?" "That guy was an idiot. I'm glad he left. Otherwise, I might not have gotten up the courage to come over." As Emma drifted off to sleep, she realized that sometimes the worst moments crack us open just enough to let the light in. Sometimes rejection from the wrong person creates space for acceptance from the right one. And sometimes, when you're at your lowest, humanity shows up wearing an unexpected face. In this case, a single father and his 7-year-old daughter with a stuffed rabbit and hearts big enough to see past the shallow surface of the world. Marcus had been right about one thing, Emma thought with a smile. There had been a mistake that night. His mistake was thinking appearance determined worth. His mistake was believing cruelty made him superior. His mistake was walking away from someone who might have surprised him, challenged him, maybe even changed him, if he'd bothered to see her at all. But Emma was done shrinking herself for people who couldn't appreciate her fullness. She was done apologizing for taking up space, done waiting for permission to be loved. She was ready instead to be seen.